We'd never seen anything like this. I mean, they were flying right into the ship. It's just enough to take your breath away, much less scare the living daylights out of you. I went to the Naval Academy to play football. I was in a little junior college in West Virginia, and I knew about Navy's reputation, so I got lucky. I have many great football memories. My last year, we had a tremendous season. We only lost one game. We lost to Notre Dame, which we normally lose to. All our games with Army stand out, but we played Army at West Point. We beat them like a drum.
The final is Navy 13, Army nothing.
Police season was over. The Washington Redskins Stadium. They were playing the Eagles. So we were up there, and we had a commander who was with us. We didn't know anything that happened, but there was a chief down there with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he looked up and he saw the commander, so he came up. He said, "The Japs bombed Pearl Harbor." That's how we got the announcement, and we were at war. I went out to the Pacific and I joined a veteran crew on the USS Columbia. These guys knew what they were about. We were in Lady Gulf, and the Japs, they were flying right down past us. So we were manned up and firing like crazy. First time I'd ever been in combat, in control of a director. So you're controlling all the anti-aircraft gunfire on the ship. But if you don't do it smoothly, it jerks. And if it jerks, the guns jerk. Well, I was nervous. And so I was all over the place. Now, you don't know how you're going to react in combat. I defy anyone to know how he's going to do in first contact. But you got to do your job. That's what the Navy is trying to train you to do. Train you to learn your job, so under pressure, you'll perform. We know the Japs are coming up through Surigao Straits. Our admiral pulls us out into formation, and the Japs come up. 2 battleships, I don't know, a cruiser, in force. When they get within range, we open fire. These shells were going over our head like freight trains. I mean, you have to see a 16-inch shell going over you to realize this. It's a tremendous explosion. And we fired until we were out of ammunition. And we caught the Japs. We sunk all those ships down in the Surigao Straits. And so they retreated. We'd never seen anything like this. You never could get an American boy to do what these guys were doing. I mean, they were flying right into the ship. And it's just enough to take your breath away, much less scare the living daylights out of you. We were successful until we got into the Lingayen Gulf. In Lingayen Gulf, Halsey had taken his fleet north. We had no air cover, and the Japanese poured aircraft in there on us. I'm sitting in the director, and here comes a plane out of the sky. And that time he turned in front of us, and he banked all the way around, and he came in and he hit us on the port side. His guns are blazing all the way up. He got my mount captain and killed him. And then he came right up and he went right by me, and he crashed into the main battery director. Well, terrible explosion. This thing hit on the deck and went all the way through the ship, blew a hole in the bottom of the ship, and trapped all the people in that mount. And I was burned, but not that bad. Later on, I flew a spy plane. The Chinese and the Russians tolerated this just. At times, they sent fighters up after us. I had combat north of Shanghai and right over Vladivostok. Pretty scary work. Of course, I had great training from the Naval Academy, but a lot of it was my faith. I had this cross. In dangerous time, I would just reach down and I could feel it through my flight suit. It was later on, I went into carrier aviation, and I was flying in a submarine carrier plane off the coast of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Russians had a submarine. He was within 3 miles of the Cuban coast. We found him. My plane found him. And I was going over him and just pounded him with practice depth charges, and then coming around and doing it again and again and again. Now finally, he'd had enough, and he came up. We had some destroyers there, and we called them in. And they came over and went alongside him. And we turned him around and sent him off back to Europe. 5 children, great Navy career. We moved all over the world and loved the Naval Academy. It was a tremendous experience. Come on, fellas, go Navy, beat Army.